A security guard or former security guard from a bar in Portland, Oregon has come forward to corroborate allegations that Mark Cuban had sexually assaulted a woman at that bar back in 2011. Now, back in 2011, the woman did go to police and did file a police report, and cops did investigate the allegations, but they decided not to, the prosecutor decided not to pursue the case because there was a lack of evidence. However, now Christopher White, who was a security guard working at that bar at that time, said he saw the NBA basketball team owner in the barrel room with his entourage and witnessed Cuban putting his arm around a woman for a photo. Now, here's the relevant part of what Christopher White had to say. She jumped away like she was not happy with him. That's when the energy in the room kind of exploded. So the allegation by the woman was that he put his hand down her jeans, the back of her jeans, and penetrated her with his fingers. Now, Christopher White said, I didn't have a camera on his hand, but it sure looked like it was too low to be just on her back. And he also said that Cuban appeared to be heavily intoxicated. He was slinking around all over the place. I believe we told him we couldn't serve him any alcohol. Also, White says that Cuban would point his finger at women with whom he wanted to be photographed and beckoned them. The way Cuban touched some of the women struck White as inappropriate because his hands moved well below the middle of their backs, he said. White also said that he was never interviewed by police, but later told a friend that what he had witnessed. The friend confirmed to Oregonian, Oregon Live that White had told him the same account. So they made sure to corroborate what White had said to his friends. So look, these are interesting allegations, and I'm curious to see how it plays out. Apparently the NBA has decided to launch an investigation against Mark Cuban, and we'll see what the results of that investigation will be. But it is important to point out that the cops did interview several other employees at the bar, and none of them said that they noticed anything strange.
That's pretty important. So I have mixed feelings about this story, and not because sometimes I get confused for Mark Cuban. So look, on the one hand, why would she make it up? And he remembers it from the time the security guard does, and told a friend, and that friend said, yes, he told me at the time. She obviously remembers it and filed with the police immediately. And told her boyfriend, and her boyfriend was really mad. Obviously, he remembers it from the time, so they're not making it up later. On the other hand, there are 4 witnesses who say they didn't see it. They can't say definitively that it didn't happen, but the cops talked to 4 people, the manager at the barrel room, 2 security workers, and a bartender. All 4 said they saw no misconduct from Cuban. Now, again, that doesn't mean it didn't happen. It means they didn't see it, right? And then what he describes, the security guard who now says, Christopher White, who says that he thinks it might have happened, he didn't say that he saw him doing it. He said he saw his hand going lower than the waist, she jumped, and then the energy in the room exploded. Other people say, and I question the other 4 witnesses a little bit because they said, no, nobody noticed anything and it was no big deal. Well, she went and filed with the police, so it seems more credible that the energy in the room would have changed, etc. But on the other hand, Christopher White didn't actually see it, right? So, and it's from 7 years ago, so. And
there's no surveillance because this all took place in a tent area where Mark Cuban was taking pictures with patrons from the bar. And apparently that tent did not have a camera.
Yeah.
So look, I think it's gonna be a very difficult case to prove because it goes beyond just alleging something, you have to prove the case. There has to be some evidence, and I don't know if there is evidence outside of this one witness who says that he noticed something strange, but again, didn't say definitively that he saw what the woman is alleging.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that it didn't happen, and it doesn't mean that that if it did happen, it's terrible. The allegation is that he put his hand inside her clothes and then penetrated her with his finger. That's really, really bad. But we do have a court of law and we do have a justice system, and you do have to prove it because what if it didn't happen? And so that's why we have a process. And so it's going to be really, really hard to prove whether it happened or it didn't happen. And I don't know why it's coming back up 7 years. He's not a politician. I know that he's a well-known guy and he has a TV show and he has a basketball team. And then there's the allegations that he was too drunk and he was gropey. You're allowed to be too drunk. So he's denying that he was that drunk, but so what? I don't get it. And gropey, I don't know what that means. Did you see him assault someone? If you did, that means a lot. If you didn't see him, calling him gropey doesn't mean anything.
Right, and also what might appear to be inappropriate conduct for you, I mean, it's really dependent on the women in the case, right? If any other woman was uncomfortable, hopefully she'd go forward to the police. But anyway, we'll see how this all plays out. Yeah,
so just one last time. It's not to diminish the charges if they can be proven they are significant, but it's incredibly hard to prove and there's witnesses in both directions, so take it for what it's worth. You just watched a video by the Young Turks, home of the revolution. If you'd like to get a lot more than that, get the full show by becoming a member. tytnetwork.com/join.